Welcome to Heart Over Gold, the channel where love, kindness, and humanity shine brighter than any fortune. In today's story, George Blackwood, a successful tech executive, seems to have it all: wealth, power, and a glamorous wife, Dana. But when he crosses paths with his ex, Michelle Ashe, now thriving with tech mogul Cooper Davenport, George is forced to confront the emptiness behind his perfect life. As he grapples with his choices, he learns that true success isn't measured by status, but by the authenticity and love we cultivate. This is George's journey from superficial achievement to finding what truly matters. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments and keep up with our latest stories. George Blackwood adjusted his Hermes tie, closely inspecting his reflection in the full-length mirror of his walk-in closet. The wall before him was lined with an impressive collection of Italian suits, each more expensive than the monthly salaries of many employees. At 35, he had achieved everything he had ever dreamed of. He was the vice president of one of the biggest tech companies in the country, living in a luxurious penthouse in the heart of Manhattan, and married to a beautiful wife who turned heads wherever she went. "Darling, have you seen my new charger?" Dana called from the bedroom, urgency in her voice. "I need to do a live stream in 10 minutes. George sighed but kept his practiced smile in place. It was the same smile he wore in board meetings, on the glossy pages of business magazines, and at the social events Dana insisted he attend. "Check your new Chanel bag," he replied, glancing at his computer. "It's 7:30 in the morning, plenty of time to get to the office and prepare for the shareholder meeting. This could be the one that makes me CEO." The morning sunlight bathed the Manhattan skyline as it streamed through the bedroom window. From his penthouse on the 45th floor, everything below seemed small, insignificant. Dana entered the room, her blonde hair perfectly styled, cascading over her shoulders. At 28, she had over 2 million Instagram followers and a flourishing influencer career. She was everything George thought he wanted: beautiful, refined, and the perfect complement to his narrative of success. "The pictures from the Hamptons are doing great," she said, eyes glued to her phone. "We should make more content together. My followers love seeing us as a couple." George barely heard her. For a split second, he remembered an earlier version of Dana, the one who had spent late nights with him in his small apartment, laughing over cheap takeout before social media and sponsorships took over their lives. He nodded absently, his mind drifting to the upcoming meeting. He knew the routine: pose, smile, let her create the perfect caption about being the ultimate power couple. Their marriage appeared flawless, at least on social media. But in the quiet moments between meetings and events, something felt off. He pushed the feeling aside at first, blaming stress, but it grew harder to ignore. The strained smiles, the sleepless nights, the emptiness creeping in behind his professional accomplishments. He grabbed his briefcase and kissed Dana's cheek, though she didn't seem to notice, too engrossed in her phone. "Big day ahead," he murmured, more for himself than for her. "Promotion might be on the horizon." "That's great, babe," she responded, already setting up her ring light for her live stream. "Oh, don't forget the charity gala tonight. Wear the Tom Ford suit. It's perfect for the occasion." As the elevator descended, George squared his shoulders and adjusted his smile. He had everything he ever wanted: the career, the wife, the lifestyle. So why did it feel like he was just going through the motions? "You'll never find anyone better than me," he had told Michelle 5 years ago on a rainy evening in his modest apartment. "You're making a big mistake, putting your career ahead of our relationship." Michelle stood before him, her dark hair soaked from the rain, green eyes full of quiet determination. She had just told him about her job offer in Silicon Valley, a chance that would propel her career in tech development. "I'm not choosing between you and my career, George," she had said, her voice steady despite the tears that threatened to spill. "I just want you to stand by me as my partner. But you're too focused on yourself to see that, aren't you?" He had laughed, though it sounded harsh to his own ears. "Partner, let's be realistic. You're just a small-town girl with big dreams. I'm on the path to something incredible. I need someone who gets that. Someone who can be the right partner for someone like me." Her expression hardened, a flicker of something passing through her eyes. "You mean someone who will give up everything to be your trophy wife?" she asked. He had sneered, his words dripping with condescension. "Don't be so dramatic. Appreciate my honesty. We've had fun, but now it's time to face facts. You don't fit the image of what people expect beside me." Michelle had packed her bag in silence, movements deliberate and calm, almost eerie in their composure. "You know what, George? You're right. I don't fit the mold you want. In fact, I've surpassed those expectations. You'll regret this." He watched her leave, calling after her. "Give it a year. You'll realize what you threw away." At the door she paused, not looking back. "No, George, you're the one throwing something away, and someday you'll understand what that was." The door clicked shut softly behind her, a sound far too quiet for the dramatic exit he had expected, and it unsettled him more than he cared to admit. George poured himself a scotch, trying to convince himself that he had made the right choice. Michelle had been sweet and intelligent, but she lacked the ambition and polish he wanted in his partner for the future. Just 3 months later, he met Dana at a charity event. She was everything Michelle was not: sophisticated, well-connected, and already building a name for herself in the world of social media. 6 months later, he proposed to Dana, briefly thinking of Michelle. He wondered if she had seen the news about his engagement, imagining the pang of regret she might have felt, but that was fleeting. Now, 5 years later, thoughts of Michelle seldom crossed his mind. She was just a stepping stone on his journey to success, a chapter he had moved beyond. Yet on those rare nights when the emptiness crept in, George questioned why his seemingly perfect life felt so hollow. Sitting in his home office, George gazed at the wall of awards and press clippings celebrating his rise to the top. From the next room, he could hear Dana's voice, perfectly modulated for her latest Instagram video. "Here's my morning routine, loves. Remember to swipe up for my favorite supplements and skincare." He took a long sip of his bourbon, a bottle just expensive enough to impress, but not so rare that he regretted drinking it at 2 p.m. on a Sunday. The amber liquid did little to fill the growing void inside him. Maria, the housekeeper, knocked gently before entering with a fresh pot of coffee, setting it on his desk while avoiding the designer coasters Dana had chosen. "Will you be joining Mrs. Blackwood for dinner tonight, Mr. Blackwood? Is she dining in?" he asked. "She's having dinner with some influencer friends at New. She mentioned it in her morning vlog." George chuckled dryly. He often learned about his wife's plans from her social media, just like her followers did. "I'll have my meal in the office, Maria. Thank you." Once she was gone, George opened the video of their wedding. They looked flawless together. He in his tailored tuxedo, she in her stunning designer gown. The ceremony had been meticulously crafted for social media, every detail carefully arranged for the perfect shot. Even their first dance had been choreographed, and their vows polished by a speechwriter. Their kiss had been rehearsed to look spontaneous. His phone buzzed with a message from Dana. "Don't forget the gala next week. You're wearing the gray Tom Ford, not the blue. The Vogue photographer will be there. We need content." He quickly responded, "Okay," and set his phone down. When did their marriage become just another content generator? When did their conversations turn into discussions about photo ops and online tactics? From his office window, George watched a couple strolling through the park below. They weren't remarkable by social media standards, just a pair in faded jeans, laughing and sharing earbuds, pausing to kiss. Yet something about their unfiltered joy made his heart ache. Dana walked in, still looking impeccable even on a Sunday. "Sweetheart, what do you think of this filter for my evening post? It really brings out the beauty of our penthouse." George glanced at her phone. Their home, yet not entirely their home. Everything slightly altered, subtly artificial, much like their relationship. "It's perfect," he said, knowing it was exactly what she wanted to hear. Her smile was radiant as she kissed his cheek, careful not to smudge her lipstick. "Your words always resonate. That's why we complement each other so well." "Absolutely perfect," George muttered, the word lingering in his thoughts as she left the room. The sound of her heels tapping against the hardwood floor faded, and he felt a pang in his chest. At the diamond room at the plaza, the city's elite swirled around in couture dresses and finely crafted facades. George adjusted his Tom Ford bow tie, his gray suit a perfect match for the occasion, while Dana navigated the crowd with effortless grace. "My dear, Cooper Davenport has just arrived," Dana whispered, gripping his arm. "We simply must get a photo with him." "Did you know he's worth over 10 billion now?" George nodded. He was well aware. Davenport Technologies was his company's biggest rival, and Cooper Davenport represented everything George wanted to achieve. "Let him settle in first," George replied, his gaze scanning the room. "We don't want to appear too eager." Meanwhile, Dana was already angling herself for the perfect candid shot, her phone poised discreetly in her clutch. Cooper Davenport's wife caught George's attention for the first time. She wasn't just any woman. She was Michelle Ashe. Elegant, poised, more stunning than he remembered. The jolt that hit him in the stomach was unmistakable. He had left her behind, thinking he was moving towards something better. But now, seeing her standing by Cooper Davenport's side, everything in George's world seemed to come to a halt. This was genuine. "Oh my goodness, we absolutely need to capture a photo with the baby," Dana exclaimed, already getting into position. "My audience would adore this." Michelle's courteous smile fell short of reaching her eyes. Apologies, but we refrain from sharing images of James on social media. We value our privacy. Dana's expression dimmed for a moment, but she swiftly regained her composure. Years of experience in navigating social media coming into play. Absolutely, I completely get it. Perhaps it should just be the grown-ups. Before anyone had a chance to reply, Cooper's assistant materialized at his side. Mr. Davenport, Senator Will Georges wishes to speak with you. If you'll pardon us, Cooper said, leading Michelle and the baby away with a soft touch. George, it was a pleasure to meet you. George observed as they faded away, the Deal family melding into the throng. Michelle displayed no trace of remorse or yearning. She didn't spare him a second look. She possessed it all. Success, love, family, and none of it was tied to him. The realization struck him with the force of a physical blow. Michelle Ashe hadn't merely moved on. She had outshone him in every conceivable manner. The remainder of the gala unfolded in a haze. George robotically exchanged handshakes, posed for pictures, and engaged in trivial conversations. Yet his thoughts continually wandered back to Michelle and her idyllic little family. Every time he caught sight of her from across the room, the knife twisted deeper. He observed as she deftly interacted with tech giants and politicians, her intelligence illuminating every discussion. Cooper remained close, his pride unmistakable as he introduced her to everyone as my brilliant wife. Did you know she created their new neural network algorithm? He overheard someone mention it. Davenport Technologies' stock skyrocketed after the announcement. During dinner, George found himself captivated by their table. Michelle was offering small morsels to baby James, who sat happily in a high chair nestled between his parents. The sound of the child's laughter filled the room, eliciting smiles from the guests around. "Babe, are you even paying attention?" Dana's voice interrupted his reverie. She was displaying something on her phone, likely another social media post. "I believe we should mimic their pose for our upcoming photo shoot. They're definitely in vogue at the moment." "They didn't do photo shoots, Dana," he replied more sharply than he meant to. "They're genuinely successful." Her perfectly shaped eyebrows knitted together in confusion. "We're thriving as well. I have double the followers compared to last year." George emptied his champagne glass, longing for something with more kick. He observed Cooper gently removing a smudge of food from Michelle's chin, eliciting a genuine laugh from her. The sound resonated throughout the room, pure and unrestrained. The reality he had been dodging all night struck him with undeniable clarity. Michelle hadn't merely discovered someone with greater wealth or achievement. She had encountered someone who cherished her intellect as deeply as her appearance, who encouraged her aspirations rather than belittling them. She had discovered what George, in his arrogance, failed to provide: a true partnership, authentic love, and the liberty to embrace her true self. His phone vibrated with a notification. The company announcement was now public. Cooper Davenport was securing their largest client. The agreement Michelle had assisted in negotiating would essentially extinguish any hope George had of ascending to the role of CEO. He glanced up to see her observing him, her expression perceptive, yet not unkind. She offered him a subtle nod before redirecting her attention to her family. The implication was unmistakable. She had emerged victorious, yet there was no satisfaction in his loss. That somehow intensified the situation. The following morning in his office, George found it impossible to concentrate. The financial reports from that morning remained neglected on his desk as he mindlessly scrolled through news articles concerning Davenport Technologies. Every other headline highlighted Michelle's impact on the company's achievements. Mr. Blackwood's assistant peeked in. "The board is looking to reschedule the strategy meeting to address the Davenport acquisition." He dismissed her with a wave, then opened a private window on his browser. In no time, he was perusing Michelle's impressive professional accomplishments. She graduated at the top of her class at MIT, held multiple patents, and was a keynote speaker at major tech conferences. She hadn't merely succeeded. She had truly excelled. Michelle Davenport's groundbreaking approach to artificial intelligence has transformed the industry, one article declared. The accompanying photo captured her in a lab, sleeves rolled up, fully immersed in her work. No meticulously arranged poses, no polished perfection, just raw, passionate brilliance. His phone illuminated with a message from Dana. "Their baby is gaining attention. Why didn't you mention that you knew her? We could have utilized that link." George dismissed the message, his jaw tightening. He recalled Michelle's words from years past. "I'm better." He laughed then, but now the words lingered in his mind. In the bathroom mirror, he adjusted his tie, a futile act that had lost its charm. Themen reflected back appeared lavish, yet vacant, reminiscent of a counterfeit luxury brand. "Excuse me, sir. This is assistant once more. Cooper Davenport's office has reached out. They would like to arrange a meeting to talk about the transition. Inform them that I'm not available, he snapped. However, Mr. Davenport explicitly asked for you. He mentioned that Michelle suggested you for the integration team. The words struck him with a jolt. Even now, she maintained her professionalism by recommending him while he struggled to confront the meeting. Her success transcended mere accomplishments. It lay in her elegance and her capacity to rise above trivial feelings. He settled into his chair, the leather now lacking the opulence it once exuded. Beyond his window, Manhattan's skyline loomed infinitely. Yet for the first time, he felt insignificant in its presence. Michelle had not sought his approval or his validation. She had never required his presence. And that realization cut deeper than anything else, shattering his pride irreparably. Another charity event, another night steeped in facade. George lingered at the bar, observing the two women who embodied both his history and his current reality. Dana thrived in her surroundings, striking poses by the entrance where the lighting was just right. After 3 hours of meticulous preparation, she had collaborated with her social media team to determine the best angles and the most effective hashtags. Each smile and gesture was thoughtfully crafted to achieve optimal engagement. Across the room, Michelle sat with a group of tech executives, deeply engaged in a conversation that captivated everyone around her. Her makeup was minimal, her dress elegant yet understated. She wasn't seeking anyone's validation. She was simply embracing her authentic self. Text. A colleague remarked, nodding toward Dana, "Your wife's latest post garnered 500,000 likes. It must be quite something to have such a successful influencer by your side." George managed a smile, yet his gaze returned to Michelle. She was displaying something on her tablet to the group, her enthusiasm clear in her movements. Cooper stood close by, observing her with sincere admiration, occasionally contributing to her points, but primarily allowing her to take the spotlight. "Babe," Dana's voice interrupted his reflections. "Come here. We need to capture that couple's pose I showed you. The lighting is just right at this moment." He approached with a certain stiffness, taking the stance she desired. "Position yourself here. Wear that smile. Gaze at her with admiration." Everything was meticulously planned, all a facade. Mrs. Davenport's performance was remarkable. He caught someone remarking, the manner in which she simplified intricate AI concepts into clear, digestible terms was remarkable. Meanwhile, Dana was perusing the photos on her phone. "No, these won't suffice. Your smile lacks the warmth of your eyes. Reflect on something joyful." He couldn't help but notice the irony. Once he believed Michelle lacked the sophistication to be his partner. Now he observed her earning respect through her intellect. While his own spouse garnered attention through curated images, Michelle's laughter resonated throughout the space, authentic and unbridled. She wasn't tallying her followers or gauging her value through engagement metrics. She was embracing life, making genuine contributions to the world. "Perfect," Dana declared, finally pleased with the photo. "This is bound to become popular." George nodded absent-mindedly, coming to a painful realization that although he had elevated his social standing through marriage, he had significantly compromised on depth and character. The contrast between the two women was glaring, and he knew it was all on him. On Monday morning, George sat at his desk, neglecting pressing emails in pursuit of a different kind of inquiry. His browser history was cluttered with searches about Michelle's career path, her patents, her publications, her speaking engagements. Each revelation felt like another twist of the knife. She hadn't merely secured a prestigious position. She had transformed entire sectors of the tech industry. Her neural network designs were under examination at leading universities. She had captivated audiences with TED Talks on the future of AI. "Mr. Blackwood." The voice of his assistant echoed through the intercom. "The board is awaiting your quarterly report. Just give me 5 minutes," he muttered, scrolling through another article. There it was, the tale of how she had encountered Cooper Davenport. She had showcased her research at a tech conference, and he had been so taken with it that he offered her a position right then and there. In just a year, she found herself leading their AI division. Their relationship blossomed organically, rooted in mutual respect and a shared enthusiasm for innovation. There were no orchestrated photos, no social media reveals. They had exchanged vows in an intimate ceremony, prioritizing their bond over public perception. "Sir," the board. George shut the browser, but not before catching a final headline. Michelle Davenport recognized ASON of Time's 100 most influential people in tech. In the boardroom, he presented his report with a certain detachment, his thoughts still sifting through the information he'd absorbed. Len hadn't merely stumbled upon a prosperous partner. She had worked tirelessly for her achievements. "We need to address the Davenport acquisition," someone interjected, "especially the influence of their AI division on our market share." Michelle's division. George corrected instinctively, then regretted it as all eyes shifted in his direction. Do you know her? He adjusted his tie a bit. We attended college together, is that so? She's exceptionally talented. Their advancement in neural networks has transformed the landscape. Perhaps you could arrange a meeting. George felt a knot in his stomach. Even in his own boardroom, Michelle's presence was undeniable. She was not merely Cooper Davenport's wife. She was a formidable individual, esteemed and revered for her intellect. He had once claimed that she would never find anyone better than him. Now enveloped by the proof of her achievements, those words returned to torment him. Michelle hadn't merely discovered something superior. She had transformed into something greater. The pivotal moment arrived at a tech conference in San Francisco. George noticed Michelle by the coffee station, absorbed in her tablet. Before he could think twice, he found himself approaching her. Michelle, his voice came out tighter than he intended. She glanced upward, her demeanor impeccably composed. George attending the conference. Indeed, he hesitated, suddenly aware that he hadn't prepared his words. Your keynote address yesterday was remarkable. Thank you. She stirred her coffee with precision, her voice revealing nothing of their past. How's Dana? I noticed her new beauty line debut on Instagram. The offhand reference to his wife hit a nerve. She's thriving, immersed in her influencer endeavors. Michelle offered a polite nod, already starting to collect her belongings. That's nice. Listen, Michelle. He moved in closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. I've been reflecting on the past. Don't. She interrupted him decisively, yet with a gentle touch. The past is where it should stay. George, I simply want to express. There's nothing left to express. She locked her gaze with his. We made our choices. I'm content with mine. A group of engineers came forward, enthusiastic to engage in conversation about her presentation. She faced them with sincere warmth, leaving George there with his unvoiced thoughts. Mrs. Davenport, your theory on recursive neural networks is groundbreaking, one of them exclaimed. Please call me Michelle. She smiled, eager to hear their thoughts on the application possibilities. George observed her as she connected with them, effortlessly communicating and showcasing her enthusiasm for the work in every movement. This was no longer the small-town girl he had once overlooked. This was a woman who naturally garnered respect. Darling, Cooper walked in with 2 steaming coffees. Are you ready for your next session? Michelle's face brightened at the sight of her husband. Perfect timing. E was just in conversation about the applications of neural networks with Dr. Chen's team. Cooper presented her with a coffee crafted precisely to her preference, while George observed and absorbed every detail as she elaborated on the technical aspects. George lingered at the periphery of the gathering, observing their effortless camaraderie. There were no devices, no stage smiles, no meticulously curated online snapshots, just 2 individuals relishing each other's presence and common passions. The coffee he held had turned lukewarm, mirroring the lackluster dialogue he had attempted to engage in. The open bar at the conference's closing reception infused George with a newfound boldness. After 3 scotches, he noticed Michelle standing alone on the terrace, momentarily escaping the bustling crowd indoors. Must be nice, he remarked, approaching her from behind, landing a billionaire husband. Michelle turned slowly, her expression steady. Is there something you need, George? Just making conversation. He leaned against the railing, attempting to seem relaxed. You've certainly moved on from our college days. I didn't move on, she replied with poise. I crafted my own path and found someone who values that. Come on, Michelle, he chuckled. We both understand how these situations unfold. Right place, right time, right person. No, she interrupted him, her tone incisive yet measured. That's how things operate in your realm, George. Not in mine. Your realm, he sneered. Are you referring to the world I never measured up to? Michelle's gaze softened with a hint of sympathy. My life isn't defined by Cooper's wealth or position. It's shaped by the decisions I've made, the effort I've invested, and the individual I've evolved into. You got lucky, he insisted, the scotch fueling his bravado. Face it. Without Cooper. Life isn't about luck, George, she interjected softly. It's all about the decisions I've made, and I know they were the right ones. She stood tall, adjusting her dress. I hold patents under my name. I have transformed AI technology. I encountered an individual who recognized my worth as an equal rather than a mere tool. This is no coincidence, Michelle. Cooper's voice echoed from the doorway. They're ready for your closing remarks. Coming, she replied, then turned to George for one final moment. Do you understand what sets us apart? George, I never relied on anyone else for my success. All I required was someone who wouldn't hinder my progress. She turned and left, leaving George solitary on the terrace. Inside, the sound of applause filled there as she stepped onto the stage. Through the glass doors, he observed Cooper radiating pride as his wife enchanted the audience with her brilliance. The scotch in his glass had lost its flavor of courage. It was a flavor of loss. The penthouse seemed more desolate than ever. When George came back from San Francisco, he discovered Dana in her home studio, encircled by ring lights and makeup products, filming yet another tutorial. Don't forget, dear ones, to use code Dana Blackwood for a delightful 20% discount, she concluded with a polished smile before switching off the camera. You're back again. How was the conference? It was fine, he muttered, pouring himself a drink. Just the usual tech stuff. Did you manage to gather any valuable content? My followers really enjoy when you delve into business topics. He observed her meticulously rearranging her products for the upcoming video. Each item placed for optimal visibility. Michelle Davenport was present, the mastermind of artificial intelligence. Dana brightened, grabbing her phone. Did you manage to snap any pictures? She never agrees to my collaboration proposals. He mentioned, his tone empty, that she was delivering the keynote address on groundbreaking AI advancements. That's nice, Dana said distractedly, her attention already on her phone. Oh my God, my latest reel just hit 1 million views. We definitely need to celebrate. George approached the window, gazing down at the city beneath him. The familiar sight that once filled him with a sense of strength now only highlighted his solitude. Behind him, Dana kept talking about engagement rates and sponsorship deals. Perhaps we could create a workout video for couples, Shep proposed. Those seem to be quite popular at the moment. He reflected on Michelle and Cooper, recalling their conversations about intricate technologies over coffee and the tangible things they had built together. In the meantime, his marriage seemed to unfold in meticulously curated squares on Instagram. I'm heading to bed, he declared. But it's just 8 and you haven't even liked my latest posts. In the dim light of the bedroom, he unfastened his tie and gazed at his reflection. Clad in a designer suit, adorned with an expensive watch and sporting immaculate hair, he embodied the essence of achievement. Yet achievement in what regard? The sudden buzz of his phone interrupted his thoughts. Michelle's closing speech from the conference captured attention in tech circles, with industry leaders lauding her insights. Meanwhile, Dana's voice echoed from her studio, urging listeners to smash that like button and hit subscribe. The difference was striking. He swung open the balcony door, allowing the cool night air to flow in. Somewhere in this city, Michelle was likely immersed in her next groundbreaking idea, backed by a partner who cherished her intellect just as deeply as her emotions. And here, he was bound to a woman who prioritized appearances over emotions. The solitude pressed down on him like a heavy burden. 3 vacant whiskey glasses adorned George's office desk as he perused yet another piece about Michelle's recent innovation in technology. Her AI system had just been embraced by 5 major hospitals, with the potential to save thousands of lives. Mr. Blackwood, his assistant's voice broke through. The board meeting began 10 minutes ago. Cancel it, he snapped, pouring another drink. Family emergency. The crisis washes bruised pride, spilling over with every fresh headline celebrating Michelle's achievements. His phone vibrated incessantly with Dana's texts discussing a sponsored post they had to film, but he dismissed them all. He retrieved an old photo on his phone, one from his college days. Michelle was laughing at something just out of view, her expression genuine, unedited. He had captured that moment the day before she shared her aspirations for Silicon Valley. The day before he made the most significant mistake of his life. Excuse me, sir. It's his assistant once more. Mrs. Blackwood is on line 1 and she insists it's urgent. What is it, Dana? He barked into the phone. The Davenports just revealed they're donating $50 million to support AI research at 2 universities. We must respond with something comparable. Consider the possibilities. He ended the call without a word. As he opened his laptop, he entered Michelle Ash Davenport into the search bar once more. A ritual he'd repeated many times in the past few weeks. An intriguing interview has surfaced. She stated that success isn't defined by whom you marry or what possessions you have. Rather, it revolves around remaining faithful to your vision and surrounding yourself with those who share that belief. The words struck him with precision. He loosened his tie, a sense of suffocation washing over him. The wall of accolades in his office, the awards, the press clippings, the photos with celebrities suddenly appeared empty. Mere decorations in a performance about triumph rather than genuine accomplishment. His phone buzzed once more. Dana had shared yet another couple's photo drenched in filters, accompanied by the caption "Power Couple Relationship Goals Go Blessed." The deception felt overwhelming. Michelle's voice resonated within him. Life isn't merely a matter of luck, George. It's about the decisions we make. He had made the wrong choices. Every single step paddled him astray, and now he was left to grapple with the consequences. Witnessing the woman he had cast aside transform the world while he sank deeper into whiskey and remorse. His pride was no longer merely bruised. It lay in ruins. "We need to discuss your behavior," Dana announced, entering his home office with determination. This time she wasn't capturing moments or striking a pose. "You've been indulging in too much alcohol, skipping events, and neglecting my calls. My followers are beginning to sense that something is amiss." George gazed at the city lights from his window, drink in hand. "Is that what truly matters? Your followers? Our brand holds significance, doesn't it? We've constructed this together, and you're jeopardizing everything." She snatched his phone. "And what's the reason behind your Google alert for Michelle Davenport?" He yanked the phone away. "You wouldn't get it." "Oh, I get it just fine." Dana's voice became icy. "I've noticed the way you gaze at her pictures, how you keep track of her journey. She's your former partner, isn't she?" "She's more than just that," he whispered. "She embodies all that I discarded." "Discarded?" Dana chuckled with a hint of bitterness. "Just look at what you've got. Observe what we've created. We are the elite of influencers. Yet we haven't constructed anything substantial." The words burst forth from him. "We're merely content creators. While she's out there making a difference, we're caught up in debates over filter presets and hashtags." Dana's meticulously crafted visage twisted in dismay. "Is that truly your perception of our existence? Of me, our life lacks authenticity. Dana, it's all a performance. Each smile, each kiss, each fleeting moment, it's all captured for the lens. But that's not the reality." Yet her hand moved almost automatically toward her phone as if compelled to record the dispute. "When was the last time we engaged in a dialogue that didn't revolve around social media? When did you last truly see me instead of your screen?" Tears loomed, threatening to smudge her mascara. Still, she tilted her face to capture the light more effectively. Years of habits were difficult to break. "I thought we wanted the same things," she whispered. "I felt the same way." He drained his glass, "But I misjudged my desires about everything. This revolves around her, doesn't it? Flawless Michelle with her brilliant mind and her ideal billionaire spouse." "No," he replied softly. "This narrative unfolds my journey. It reflects the decisions I've embraced and the person I've evolved into." Dana squared her shoulders, the familiar facades settling back into position. "All right. I'll be staying at my sister's, and remember we have the charity gala coming up next week. Gather your composure by that time. We have a reputation to uphold." She departed, the click of her heels resonating in their vacant, flawlessly curated apartment. The charity gala approached with an air of finality. George entered solo. Dana had crafted a meticulously phrased Instagram post about needing some personal time to reset and recharge. Whispers among the crowd hinted at discord beneath the surface. He caught sight of Michelle on the other side of the ballroom, engaged in an animated discussion with a cluster of scientists. The understated elegance of her green dress beautifully complemented her eyes. Her wedding ring stands as the sole meaningful piece of jewelry. No designer labels, no deliberate poses. There was an undeniable grace about it all. Something within him broke free. Perhaps it was the effervescence of the champagne, the burden of his faltering marriage, or merely the heavy toll of years filled with missteps. Regardless of the circumstances, he felt an undeniable pull toward her. "Can we talk?" he inquired, cutting into her discussion. "Please." Michelle took a moment to examine his expression before giving a slight nod. "Excuse me, gentlemen." She trailed him to a secluded nook of Theteris. For an extended moment, they lingered in silence, the city lights shimmering beneath them like scattered stars. "I was mistaken," he finally admitted, his voice growly. "About it all, George?" "No, just let me finish." I clutched the terrace railing tightly. "I used to believe that success was all about projecting the perfect image and having the ideal connections, the perfect partner. I believed I was above your aspirations. Yet it turns out I was the one lacking." Michelle's expression softened. "You weren't a bad person, George. Just someone who had lost their way. Look at you now." He waved his hand in a sweeping motion. "You're transforming the world, truly transforming it. As I navigate the facade of achievement, sharing curated images alongside a partner who prioritizes followers over genuine emotions, I reflect on her gentle reminder. It's not a competition, but isn't it? Because if it were, you've certainly come out on top." "Absolutely." He let out a harsh laugh. "Do you know what really gets to me? It's not the fact that you chose to marry Cooper. It's not just about your success. It's about your true happiness. You've discovered all that I believed I desired. Yet, you discovered the path that suits you best. The best path by embracing who you are by pursuing your aspirations. By discovering a partner who nurtures those aspirations, rather than attempting to shape you into their ideal companion." He ran a hand through his hair. "I've dedicated years to constructing the flawless facade, and all I have to display for it is a hollow marriage and a gallery of edited images." Michelle paused, her voice soft. "It's not too late to make a change, is it? That's the essence of life, George. Opportunities for different choices continually present themselves. The real question lies in our courage to embrace them from within. Cooper's voice echoed, calling out for Michelle. That's my signal, Cher marked, preparing to leave. Then she hesitated. You know the guy I met back in college? The genuine you before everything changed. He wasn't too terrible. Perhaps the moment has come to seek him out once more. She turned and walked away, returning to her husband, her genuine existence, her hard-won joy. George observed her departure, sensing a change within himself. Not quite hope, but perhaps the dawn of comprehension. From his vantage point, he observed Michelle approach Cooper. He leaned in, whispering something that elicited a laugh from her. That same authentic laugh he recalled from their college days. Their joy was unpretentious. It wasn't altered or orchestrated or meticulously arranged for online platforms. It was undeniable. And for the first time, George perceived with clarity what had slipped away from him. Not Michelle in her essence, but the opportunity to embrace authenticity. To be deserving of someone like her. The realization was less painful than he had anticipated. Perhaps this was a step forward. George found himself in his divorce lawyer's office, observing the rain cascade down the windows. The documents were unexpectedly straightforward. Dana ruled her realm of influence. He thrived in the corporate world. Beyond that, there was little left to separate. Their union had been as superficial as their social media profiles. Mr. Blackwood, the attorney, slid the final documents across the table. Just your signature here. As he signed, his phone buzzed with a news alert. Davenport Technologies is transforming healthcare with an innovative AI system. Michelle's system, he understood without needing to delve deeper. She was preserving lives while he was dismantling his marriage. Would there be an official announcement? The lawyer inquired. Dana's managing that, he responded. It had to do with conscious uncoupling and personal growth journeys. He exited the office and strolled through the rain, disregarding the need for an umbrella. The incessant buzzing of his phone was relentless. Dana's divorce announcement had taken the internet by storm. His social media was inundated with a barrage of messages. He switched it off. Upon arriving at his office, his assistant presented him with an envelope. This arrived for you, sir, she said. Inside was an invitation to a tech innovation summit. Michelle was highlighted as the keynote speaker set to present her groundbreaking healthcare AI system. Below her name, his was noted as a panelist for a discussion on corporate leadership. He nearly said no, but something held him back. Perhaps it was time to confront the truth without any embellishments. That night, in solitude within his penthouse, George powered up his laptop and started to write. Dear board members, I am writing to submit my resignation. The thoughts came effortlessly, perhaps due to their newfound honesty. He had grown weary of pursuing a facade of success that held no real significance. Weary of possessing it all, yet cherishing none of it. His phone buzzed to life. Our recruitment agency calling. A startup in Silicon Valley sought a leader for their corporate restructuring. Reduced salary, no corner office, yet an opportunity to create something substantial. From his window, he glimpsed the building where he first encountered Dana at that charity gala, where he believed he had discovered his ideal partner. How mistaken he had been regarding the true essence of perfection. He reflected on Michelle's words from the gala. We continually receive opportunities to make different decisions. With a few clicks, he opened his browser and composed a brief email to confirm his acceptance of the position in Silicon Valley. Then he faced a task he had been putting off for weeks. He logged into Instagram and proceeded to delete his account. Nothing grand or theatrical. No meticulously crafted message about stepping away from the digital world. Simply vanished. Before shutting his laptop, he paused. Then, on a whim, he reopened an email thread, one that had been untouched for years. At the top of the page was Michelle Davenport's name. He began to type, Len, I need to express that you were right about everything, and I'm making an effort to improve. I understand that my request may seem bold, but should you ever require assistance with the AI initiative at a foundational level, I would be eager to contribute in any capacity. There are no strings attached. It's simply about doing what feels right. He lingered over the send button for a heartbeat. Then, with a decisive click, he released a burden he had borne for ages. His assistant interrupted with a buzz. Sir, Mrs. Davenport's office is on the line. They're inquiring whether you'll be attending the summit panel. He glanced at the invitation once more at Michelle's name positioned above his. In the past, that would have stirred a deep sense of envy within him. Now, it served as a poignant reminder that true success can be achieved through integrity, and that genuine happiness requires no embellishments. Indeed, he replied, inform them of my arrival. He lingered by the window, observing the city he had once believed was his dominion. Tomorrow, he would begin the process of packing up his office. In just a month, he would find himself in Silicon Valley, embarking on a new journey. No more designer suits, absent from the digital noise, authentic and straightforward, just an individual striving for improvement. His phone buzzed one final time. A message from Dana. Our divorce post reached 1 million likes. He erased it without a word. Certain figures lost their significance. 3 years slipped away like chapters in a novel. George stood at his modest office window in Silicon Valley, observing the sunset as it transformed the sky into a canvas of unfiltered hues. On his desk, a framed article from Tech Weekly showcased Michelle Davenport's latest breakthrough, an AI system that had transformed early cancer detection. His own name appeared in smaller print, acknowledged for his role in restructuring the startup that had adopted her system. It wasn't the success he had once envisioned, but it was tangible, hard-won, genuine. Through the screen of his open laptop, he caught sight of Dana's latest update. She had tied the knot with a social media tycoon in a ceremony that captured global attention. Her existence remained meticulously crafted, each instant preserved and enhanced for optimal appeal. He could only muster a remote sense of sympathy. His phone buzzed, signaling a reminder for the medical tech conference happening tomorrow. Michelle would be in attendance, showcasing her latest innovation. Cooper would beam with pride at the brilliance of his wife and their 3 children, each one shining with the same authenticity and intelligence that defined their family. George would be present as well, not in the role of a keynote speaker or industry giant, but as a member of the team bringing these life-saving technologies to hospitals. He had exchanged his corner office for an opportunity to engage in something significant, swapping his designer suits for casual attire that truly felt comfortable. Mr. Blackwood, his new assistant, young, earnest, and delightfully indifferent to social media, peeked her head in. The hospital in Phoenix confirmed the successful implementation. That marks our 10th this month, he nodded, allowing a small smile to break through. 10 hospitals, thousands of patients poised to benefit from early detection. Though it didn't make waves on Twitter, it held significance. He opened his desk drawer and retrieved an old photograph, capturing a moment with Michelle from their college days, both of them laughing at a joke long since faded from memory. He preserved it as a reminder, not of his losses, but of the person he once was before. Ambition and pride reshaped his path. Tomorrow he would encounter them once more. Michelle and Cooper would arrive with their children, their achievements, their authentic joy in the past that would have shattered him. At that moment, it seemed as though a crucial lesson had finally been grasped. He had lost all that he once believed he desired. The glamorous partner, the online notoriety, the prestigious office overlooking Thessaly. Yet, in the midst of losing everything, he rediscovered something long buried. Peace. Then his phone buzzed once more. A communication from the hospital administrator in Phoenix. The inaugural patient has been screened using the new system, revealing stage 1 cancer. She truly has a solid opportunity now. Thank you. George has saved the message. No likes, no shares, no potential for virality. Another life possibly saved. As he gazed at the sunset once more, memories of Michelle's words from years past echoed in his mind. Life isn't about luck. It's about the choices we make. She had been correct as always. He had indeed lost everything he once possessed. Yet in the midst of loss, he discovered something valuable. It wasn't the flawless existence he once envisioned. There were no luxury brands, no trending highlights, no status as a power couple, only genuine effort that held significance, only serene contentment instead of boisterous hollow triumph. As the sun sank beneath the horizon, George Blackwood, the man who had lost it all, ultimately realized that at times, losing everything was the sole path to discovering what truly mattered. The cosmos had not exacted retribution upon him. Instead, it allowed him to gather the fruits of his own actions. In the end, this revelation emerged as a profound blessing. Did this narrative of love, regret, and redemption strike a chord with you? We all make choices in life that shape our destiny, much like George did. His journey from superficial success to meaningful purpose illustrates that it's never too late to change direction and discover what truly matters.